inspired. I'm inspired.
Hey there guys, how's it going? My name is Sumit Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy, and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. Today I'm talking about the difference between paranoia and instinct, okay? And I came across this question on one of my friend's pages. Someone asked this question. That was very interesting, okay? Because I've considered this myself. What exactly is the difference? Now, the first thing that I want to say is paranoia is a construct of the mind. Okay, it's your mind playing tricks on you. Whereas instinct is an awareness and a protective mechanism from the body. So if you're in a situation where you feel a sudden jolt in your system, that's instinct usually. Paranoia would be a storyline which you've constructed in your mind that's so elaborate and it doesn't make a lot of sense. It has no evidence. It's sus, or what you'd say is, if you're not millennial, suspicious. And lastly, it's very systematic. Okay, it's very systematic and it sounds logical, but it doesn't make sense in the context. There's not really any plausible justification for why you're feeling paranoid. If there is, then that's an induced paranoia. Like, let's say you take a substance and you feel paranoid. That's an induced paranoia from the substance, right? If you're feeling paranoia and there's no reason as to why, your thoughts have created such a storyline that it's making you feel scared, and it's keeping you in a perpetual loop based on that thought form. Instinct is almost like intuition. Okay, it's your body's intelligence. It protects you and serves you in times of danger. Intuition and instinct is only about the present. There's no worrying about the past or the future involved in this. It's pretty neutral and unemotional. It's just more of a feeling. Whereas fear is highly charged. The paranoia is highly charged. And it's usually you worrying about the past or the future, based on some elaborate storyline. If you are more of a schizoid type personality, you're in your head a lot. Right? And so you might be experiencing paranoia. You'll notice if it goes down into the body, your body might see that as a threat as well. So maybe you're having paranoia and maybe your hands are shaking. Right? So then what? Reliable intuition or instinct. And I want to clarify, these are two different things, right? Instinct is a very primal understanding, right? It's like your sixth sense. It's like more of your spidey senses, right? To protect you in environments. But it's also very linked to your intuition. Okay, it's connected to your intuition, because if you have a high level of intuition, you can then make clearer choices. Simply, if you were to decide from the mind, it would be called discernment. Okay, discernment. You're able to understand that, okay, I'm in an unsafe environment right now. Not based on my own prejudice or dogma or storylines, but actually I know I'm in danger. So it's one thing to feel paranoid, and it's another thing to feel completely threatened. Reliable instinct or intuition feels right. There's an internal yes. There's a compassion to it. There's a very soft tone of compassion underneath it. And you can only get there by tuning inwards and not letting the mind create those storylines. You have to actually get out of your own mind and into your body for intuition to take place, where your thoughts are not believing in this elaborate storyline, right? So if you ask someone about this thing, they'll be like, oh yeah, but the government has taken my Wi-Fi away from another country, and they've always done that. And you ask them why. Well, they did it once in the past in 1927. Okay, well, what makes you say that you're doing that now? Well, they've just never been trusted. I mean, look at all of these other sources. But if you're looking at it scientifically, correlation does not equal causation. Yeah, well, you know what? If you actually experienced this kind of atrocity, you would know what I'm talking about, right? So they have this whole a paranoid or a schizophrenic person, you could say in a sense, has a whole reality mapped out in terms of their beliefs, and they're so stubborn on that belief that they cannot be open-minded enough to drop it or even listen to others with a different opinion. See what I'm saying? So it keeps them in this perpetual fear state. But they're holding on to the fear, they're hugging it. They're not letting it go, they're not questioning their beliefs, right? They're very, very strong in terms of this. And it's very highly charged. And it's very much to do with them and their personality and their mission and their greater purpose or something like that, right? So if your mind seems to be running like Flash Gordon, it's probably a high chance that you're paranoid or anxious, right? You're overthinking, whereas intuition is very silent, and it doesn't speak to you very logically. It speaks to you in symbols and feelings. It's a feeling like, I get it, or oh, I just got this color download, or that was very abstract. I just got an image of this woman that I met when I was 12. That is intuition. It feels like a great idea or reasoning. And paranoia is filled with some level of anxiety that's pretty close to impossible to understand. If you're thinking in terms of what it is, in terms of a thought, the intuitive or instinctual thought is very flow. It's fluid. It's flow state. The paranoid or the anxious thought is very sticky. It's difficult to take it apart. It's like it's all sticking together. It doesn't allow for this fluidity. So there's a pressure and stress created on a psychological level with paranoia. And for some reason, paranoia feels like it's forced upon you. It doesn't feel natural to you. Your instinct is compelling, but it's not binding. It's not keeping you in a cage of your own thinking. The object of paranoia, the thing you're paranoid about, is actually very self-rewarding, because it binds you with a thought with very strong negative emotions, and that can be very addictive to stay there and ruminate. The gaps in your mind with instinct are usually filled in with emotional intelligence. But in terms of paranoia, it's highly confusing, because there's even more gaps in the thinking. Instinct and intuition is where fact and feeling come together to generate a realistic worldview. Paranoia is a belief that the universe is against me. The opposite of that being pronoia, the universe is for me, or is there to benefit for me, or the universe is creating this conspiracy to help me in some way. If you're going to be paranoid, you might as well embrace pronoia and understand that, yeah, I'm being supported, instead of it crippling you or your paranoia being negative in some way. Paranoia usually stems from a malicious judgment, and it could be so unconscious for the fact that, hey, there might have been an incident, you as a child experienced something, latched onto your memories and thought form, and now it's back in some form of paranoia. In short, intuition actually sharpens your judgment and your decision-making skills and your discernment, whereas paranoia plays with your reality. It keeps you in the fantasy. It doesn't let you see things for what they actually are. Paranoia is a mental condition. It's characterized by delusions of persecution, unwarranted jealousy, or very exaggerated self-importance. Intuition is the ability to understand something instinctively, without conscious reasoning. So instead of the question of what's the difference, my question to you is, how could you confuse the two? Paranoia conceals threats, and intuition comes from the subconscious mind, which already has most of the answers. So when we put all of these puzzle pieces together, we start to really understand the difference between the two of these. So I hope this video gave you a perspective and it helped you out today. Trust your intuition, trust your instinct, and don't get caught up in the storylines of your mind. Have an amazing day. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. See you next time.